She's like love, 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 and music. La la la, love, 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 and music.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. Why am I talking so low? I'm weird. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. This is our review of Seeking a Sister Wife. This is season 1, episode 5. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. You will be seeing this early Monday morning because it is currently 2 o'clock in the morning. So you guys won't be seeing this until probably like 5 or 6 in the morning. This particular episode, the whole fallout from, Demetri sleeping with Jocelyn, Jeff and Vanessa finding out that they might have had a miscarriage, and then the whole craziness with Drew and his 3 wives, Lord Jesus. This was a good episode, and I think it was. So, Vanessa and Jeff have decided to go to another midwife. The first midwife they went to the last episode tried to find a heartbeat, and she could not. And she suggested they go to a doctor because she didn't hear a baby. They didn't want to go to a regular doctor. They wanted to pick another midwife. So they went to this other midwife instead, and she does this ultrasound. And then she is like, looking around for the baby, looking around for the heartbeat. She said how she specializes in, finding the baby, because sometimes babies hide and things like that. So when she's doing the ultrasound, she says like, I see this dark spot. I don't know what this dark spot is. And she's, moving it around on the belly. And she's like, there is no baby. She's like, there's no heartbeat. She's like, but not only is there no heartbeat, there is no baby. Because she was looking at, you can see the ultrasound. And she was like, I'm so sorry, but, there is no baby. But there is some kind of mass there. And you need to get it checked out. So, of course, Vanessa's crying because she's sad and kind of just doesn't know what it is. And the midwife was just saying, like, you need to get to a doctor ASAP to figure out what dark mass this is, in your abdomen. And the midwife says how they think that it's some kind of mass that made her body think it was pregnant. And it kind of grew as a pregnancy, but that's not what it was. And it could be something very serious. So she needs to get to the doctor as soon as possible. And now Jeff and Vanessa are scared because they don't know what's kind of going on with it or whatever. They go home and they basically tell the kids like, hey, I know we told you before that we have another baby, but we're not having another baby. There is no, they just explain to them, what was going on to the best of their knowledge. Let them know that, mommy and auntie isn't pregnant. And, which was, I guess, good to see as you see the 3 adults kind of all feeling emotionally drained from knowing there's something wrong and something that they thought was supposed to be joyous isn't joyous. And you even see how Sharice is like, I know tonight is my night with you, but I feel like, you should be with her tonight. It's perfectly fine. And I'm like, well, look at her giving her night up with her husband. But, it was what it was. So the next thing that we see is them on their way to the doctor. And I'm sorry, I just drank some water. So Sharice is at home with the kids, and Vanessa and Jeff are on their way to the actual hospital. And they say how they had already went to the hospital, seen a radiologist who had did testing, and it came out that it was actually a tumor. Not a tumor. Well, yeah, a tumor. It was a molar pregnancy that produced a tumor, and that was rapidly growing. So instead of her body being pregnant and growing a baby, it was a molar pregnancy which fed the tumor, and which is why her stomach got bigger as if she was pregnant, and she had to have like this emergency surgery. And Sharice is at home with all 7 children. And, saying how, this is the point of being a sister wife. And, I'm like, but you can also just have family members that help you. But, she even said, like, this is a point in time where a third sister wife would have came in handy, because now I wouldn't be left taking care of all the children. And this is the one thing that I thought about that. You should never have more children than you're able to take care of. And if you are in a plural family, I don't think saying we need a whole other wife to take care of the kids we have. That's your family. I feel like that's what you signed up for, to sometime have to bear the load of being there to take care of the family if something happens. And, so that was the one thing I was looking like, well, technically, y'all are 2-wife family. So if you had a third wife, wouldn't she have more kids? So wouldn't y'all still be down a wife? But it was what it was. So that was the whole story with, Jeff, Vanessa, and Sharice. It was what it was. Drew and them. Drew, Arlene, Angela, and April. Drew was on a date with Arlene. They're on like a little, a long date. And I kept thinking to myself, if they not supposed to be affectionate in public, how do you go on a date with another woman? Like, wouldn't someone see you leave with her or something? But I think they all have separate cars. So maybe if he left in his car and she left in her car and it just met at a restaurant, it wouldn't be a big deal. But whatever. I'm just overthinking it. Arlene's bringing up how since they had came back from the anniversary trip that April is in a better mood. She's nicer and things seem to be a little bit okay. But she says that things between Angela and April are getting very tense. And, she's saying that Angela is starting to see some of the same issues that she would complain about with April. And now Angela's having to deal with the same things that she would complain about. And, she also said that it can be very overwhelming because Angela only has one child where there are like 12 other children. So, it's 15 kids. Is it 15? It's a whole bunch of goddamn kids. But she only has one that's the youngest. And it's still 18,000 other kids. So she was saying it can also be a thing of she's overwhelmed and staying to herself because it's such a large family. And it's just kind of her and her son. And her child, I can't think if the baby is a boy or girl. And, for me, I'm like, when she said, I think she's staying to herself because she's just not acclimated yet to the big family. But I'm like, but isn't that what you signed up for? Like, I think she's been around for maybe a year now. And when you married him, you married a person who you knew had 2 wives and like 14 kids. So, yeah. But I'm like, whatever. But, Arlie and Drew come up with the idea of they need to all spend, oh my God, my shoulder. They need to spend time with each other, and just outside of the house so they can kind of just bond or whatever. And then Arlie says, we should go camping. I'm like, camping? Girl, I'm not a camper, but it's what it is. So the next thing that we see is Arlie, April, and Angela at the kitchen table, and they're trying to plan the food for the trip or whatever. Now, Arlie is writing stuff down. You have April on one side and Angela on the other side. And, April then says, I'm happy we're doing this together. Usually I have to push us to do things together. This is so nice. And she said it. And I said, that was so passive aggressive, shady, to where, you're trying to be like, I do this or whatever. And it was funny because when she said it, Arlie was like, oh, okay, yeah. Meaning you're saying stuff that's shady and we see it, but I'm not gonna feed into it. But the whole time Angela looking like this is some bullshit. So from there, Angela then suggests, well, maybe we can have snacks for the kids too. April again with her little passive aggressive shady bullshit. Angela, you would never give your child snacks. It's just too much. You would just not do that. I'm like, why are you fucking work? But you can clearly see the tension between Angela and April, where before you could see the tension between Arlie and April. But it's so weird. So Arlie and Angela both then say how it'll be okay for them all to share responsibilities and all cook together. Honey, April then says, you like that idea? That sounds fun to you? Angela, would you really want to do that? Just because, your son has to eat certain it was just dumb. And Angela said, like, I just said to you I want to do it, so why would you even ask that question? It was just so awkwardly rude for April to ask the question she was asking, because Angela had already answered the question beforehand, but she kept saying like, "Are you sure?" April don't like Angela. Let's be clear about that. Angela's saying how, April says how Angela only cares for her child, and that she does not help, and she's needy, and she wants everyone to help her, and that she needs extra attention from Drew. I'm looking like, well, how do you really feel, April? April and Angela do not get along, and it's weird because the first few episodes was about Arlie and April. So I'm like, how did that dynamic switch so fast? And I really feel like April's a bitch. Like, I don't know how to say it besides to say that. And it's because the way she is, she's very, very, very much so fake. Her emotions, what she says, how she says it, she's the goddamn Stepford wife. And not the one with Nicole Kidman. We had the one with Nicole Kidman, but Nicole Kidman was a fake Stepford wife, and the other one was like really crazy and deranged. April, to me, seemed like a crazy, deranged Stepford wife who want people to believe she's one kind of way. So she's acting and she's playing nice, but she's very, very manipulative, and I can clearly see it. Angela then goes to talk to Drew, and it says how she can't really be around April, that she can't have a deep relationship with her because it's just an off situation. She says how April is controlling, bossy, and that she does what she wants, and she does it so that she can get what she wants in the end. And it's the exact same things that we heard Arlie complaining about in episode 1. Drew brings up how and then she says, this nothing is going to work. We're not going to fix anything if we ignore the problem, and the problem is April and how she is. Now Drew then says, I know it's the same things that Arlie would complain about. It's some of the things that I also have issues with April, but this fool said he's the problem, because he says, offer her something to show her you love her, to show her attention, because most of the time she just feels lonely and she just wants attention. That's why she do that shit, because you allow her to do it. For you to suggest for one wife to offer the other wife things to make her happy when she's being a bitch, it's the reason she's a bitch. It's because you have allowed her to be that way for all these years. So in hindsight, Drew is the goddamn problem. He created the goddamn monster. I'm pretty sure the same way he is advising Angela, it's the same way he advised April. The same way that he advised Arlie. And that is why 12 years later, when Arlie still married to them, April was still the goddamn conniving, controlling person, because Drew say, well, when you feel that way, you want to talk to her, just give her something. Just make her feel loved. Fuck that. Fuck April. No. What? Drew is dumb. You have created a bigger problem than you can even imagine. You're the reason your wives don't like each other, because the one wife was a fucking problem. You're making the other two wives make her feel like she isn't wrong, and making them feel like I just have to be nicer to her. I have to make sure that she consistently feels love no matter how of a conniving bitch she is. And I'm like, I was not here for it at all. It kind of pissed me the fuck off. I wrote down, the fuck? Give her, what? Man, look, April goes to her dumb. I'm not gonna call it dumb. April needs to go and get her life, okay? Because you can't make people be nice to you. You can't be manipulative and then say, well, if you're nicer to me, if you give me lovely affirmations daily, it'll be better. No, be a fucking adult and be nice, okay? And leave it at that. So, they go on a camping trip. And the funny part about it, Drew is back on crutches because his back is starting to hurt again. And we see that Angela isn't out there yet. She is on her way. She's driving up later than anybody else. And Arlie saying how she's happy how all the kids can kind of be there and be out in the open, and they can be free, because when they're at home, they can't even act like Drew with their father outside of the home. They can't run around and be free with their siblings and, say dad or brother or sister, because they have to act as if they're not really siblings. I could not live that life. I would not want my children to be stifled, period. I just would not. I just wouldn't. I would prefer, I think the thing I would, if I was to live that lifestyle, we would have to be in two separate households. I would not want to be with a person who wants to be a polygamist, who wants to have us all in one house. If we're in Utah, I think that's the only place that it's illegal, where you can't be openly and or whatever. So my thing is, we would either have to move away from Utah, point blank period, or we could not be in the same household. I'm not gonna have my kids not be able to call you dad because you get two other wives. Fuck that shit. I'm not gonna have it. So she's like, she's just happy. Early was now, she's just happy the kids can be free and playing, and can do whatever. We then see how they start setting up before Angela gets there. They put all these tents up because of course it's 14, 15 kids and 3 adults or whatever. So they have like 18,000 tents, and they're all set up all their tents. But of course, Angela's tent is not set up because she isn't there yet. So when she does get there and she's looking around like, where's my tent go? And they're like, oh, there's an area over there by the tree. And she's like on the incline. So she would be like up like that. And they're all on a flat surface. And then Drew was like, I would love to sleep on the incline. Then why the fuck didn't you put your tent there? And, she just says how she was saying, it's like, I just feel like I'm alone. I feel like, it's me against them. And it's clearly tension. Because again, April feels like Angela is needy. And I think she is making sure that Angela is aware that we ain't gonna help you do shit. Because my thing is, if they knew she was coming later, y'all couldn't just set her tent up? No, you couldn't. I mean, if the tent was in her car, I get that. But I do think if I get there and everything else is set up and no one even said, well, let's make sure, because even though she not here and she can't put her tent up, let's make sure we have room for her tent. Because when she said, where does my tent go? It wasn't as if they knew it. He looked around and said, oh, you can around that corner, around that tree, behind the bushes, you can be over there. And I'm like, it made her feel like an afterthought. But it was what it was. And then their part goes off. So, yeah. The grand resistance. Demetri and Ashley. Demetri is a piece of shit for sleeping with that girl on the first day. I was completely disgusted that he did that. Solely because we were all rooting for you, where it's already a difficult thing to support this when we don't live the lifestyle. So it's hard for us to say, yeah, let your man go on a date with this other woman. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So it's hard to accept that and let that be that. And then we as fans accept it and let it be what it's gonna be. And you fuck around and sleep with the girl. You sleep with her. You don't talk about it with Ashley first. And you come home and tell her, and kind of, I feel like he didn't feel enough remorse for it. And that kind of pisses me off too. And it's 2:30. So, he's saying how, he made a mistake and he knows he needs to own up to it. I completely agree. Ashley was needing time to digest what happened and just kind of figure out where she wants to go from there. And he was talking about how everybody make mistakes. When you make mistakes, you gotta own up to them. And she's saying sometimes I feel like that's bullshit. What it is. And she was saying how she felt like the territory of trust, sisterhood, bonding, there were boundaries crossed because they did something. They overstepped their boundaries. They did something without talking to her first. She says how, because then he says, yeah, well, Jocelyn texted me, about us getting together. And then she said that she sent it in a group text. And he says, no, she just texted me. That would have been the second thing. 1, y'all slept together without talking to me. 2, she's now contacting you and only you. Why didn't she contact the group? Y'all in a couple. It's too soon for that to be something that's going on. And she was like, the fact that she hasn't talked to me yet, she hasn't contacted me about it, it just doesn't sit well with me. I feel like she does owe me an explanation, and she completely does. I feel like even though Demetri and Ashley has this open relationship where they want to have the sister wife, and she was aware that he was going out with her, she was not aware of this sexual situation. Like, that wasn't a part of the deal. So you do owe me an explanation, because a part of this circle is open communication. It is about honesty, and I can say for the most part, that's one thing I guess I can see from the way they live their lives. You have to kind of be honest in what you're doing, because if you're deceptive in any way, you're not really trying to live their lifestyle. So because she said how, me and Jocelyn never had the conversation about sex. She never knew how I felt about it. So the fact that she went ahead and had sex with you is as if, I didn't matter, and because she didn't know my stand on it. So how can you sleep with my husband without knowing where I stand on it? And it wasn't as if she was more upset with Ashley than she was Demetri. I think she was pissed off at him, but she just wanted Jocelyn to admit to what it was so they can possibly move on, move forward, and move past this indiscretion or whatever. And so I think she also held Jocelyn accountable simply because they were on the road to being a sister wife group or whatever. And Demetri saying how Demetri was basically trying to see if Ashley was still on board with Jocelyn, which I think is selfish. I think he should just shut the fuck up and let Ashley do all the talking about how she's feeling. Like, it does not matter. Like, you can't ask me if I'm okay with it and if you want to move forward. Like, that even shouldn't be your concern, period. You know what I'm saying? So when he said, like, well, are you okay with moving forward with her? And she's like, well, I don't know yet. She's like, it's going to depend on how open and honest she is with me. But again, I felt like at this point in time, Demetri, you in a goddamn doghouse. So just shut the fuck up. Shut up. And just let it flow. Let whatever happens. So, because again, Ashley's saying, like, I don't know what I want to do, because I'm still trying to digest what you both did. And, we then see they meet her for dinner. And she's sitting there. She's saying, like, yeah, I want to see them. It's going to be, cool or whatever. And it's like she's acting as if no one knows they had sex. And it's a secret. You on a goddamn TV show. Girl, bye. Ain't no secrets. So Demetri and Ashley walk in. And it was awkward because Jocelyn didn't get up to hug them both. Ashley did not hug Jocelyn. She walked past you. They all said hello, but it wasn't friendly enough like it was before. Demetri even hugging her, it was like sad hug. Our cheeks touched. How you hug a coworker if y'all out to dinner and you want to say hello. Hey, girl. It wasn't like, anything extra. And, they sit down and it's an awkward dinner. It's completely awkward. Demetri was saying how he could feel that Ashley was not happy, that she was not for Jocelyn. I think he could feel the heat radiating from her temples because she was sitting with a woman who technically slept with her husband without her permission. And I think that is something that made Ashley the most upset, is that y'all slept with each other without my permission. So I'm pissed off at both of y'all. And now that we're all in the same room, I'm pissed off at you. I'm pissed off at him. I'm pissed off at both of you motherfuckers. And I'm happy that Ashley didn't let either one of them off the hook. You know what I'm saying? Because they were trying to be in the situation together. So, Ashley was saying, like, I want to see if she's going to admit what happened. And it was weird because she kept saying, well, how was the day? How did it go? Da, da, da. Oh, it was great. We had a great conversation. I had sake for the first time. The food was good. And I'm like, she not going to say they laughing at sex? She did not. She did not. And, she was bringing up everything except the fact that she slept with Demetri. And I think that's what pissed Ashley off the most. Was that the whole time, because she asked her a couple of times, like, well, how was it? Did anything else happen? And she would not say anything. And at one point, Jocelyn asked them, so, are you guys ready to have a third person in your relationship or whatever? And then Ashley said, well, you know what? We are, as long as there is honesty and transparency in this, in the relationship. And she said again, so how was everything? And she asked her like a good 3 times. And neither time did Jocelyn say, well, we also left and things happened. Like, she acted as if it did not happen. And I think on the surface level, she thought maybe he didn't tell her. And I'm not going to tell her. So let's just act like it didn't happen. And I'm like, but you could also tell on her face that she was extremely nervous, and she knew that there was an elephant in the room, and she just did not know how to bring it up. And the reason for that could be she's only 22. She's young, and she's not that mature. So that was something else Ashley brought up. Demetri said how he was surprised that she did not admit to it. He said he thought she would as well, just for transparency purposes, and she didn't. And Ashley said, well, that's an issue that we thought about her, was she's so young. Is she mature enough to be in this lifestyle? And clearly she wasn't. But neither is Demetri, honestly, if you ask me. So Jocelyn leaves, and they all could tell like that was it, because she left and they're like, all right, you should go now, before it gets too late. Like, and neither Demetri or Ashley even got up to hug her or nothing. And when she got up, you can tell that she got up kind of like, oh, okay, I guess this is over and I'm leaving and I'm out here. It was very, very awkward. And, then back at home, Ashley was saying how, she did not feel like Jocelyn had respect for her because she didn't come clean. Demetri fucked up, but at least he came clean. He didn't have to. Well, he might have had to if production some kind of way knew what happened. But he didn't have to come clean, but he did. So, he get 1 point out of 100. So that part was like, well, whatever. Demetri said how he fucked up. He said, I know I fucked up. I know I have to do better, and I can't do anything against what Ashley wants and what she needs. And at this point in time, she does not want to continue a situation with Jocelyn. So it doesn't matter how much I like her. We can't do that. Like, it's over and it's done with. And Ashley's saying, like, moving forward, I'm not interested in moving forward with her. Like, it's just kind of a done deal. They both then say how they are still in hopes to find their forever wife, and they're not going to stop looking for a new sister wife. And I said, well, hell, hopefully Demetri don't sleep with another one, because the only reason this girl didn't work out is because he slept with her so quick that it couldn't go anywhere from there. And he slept with someone who was young. So I just can't. I mean, Demetri, you would have dog out to me, point blank, period. I haven't forgiven you yet. Like, Ashley might have, I have not. So, yeah. But that was the whole episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed. It is currently 2:37. I'm going to bed because I have to go to work in the morning. But I'll be back tomorrow with Love and Hip Hop Miami, Love and Hip Hop New York, and Teen Mom. I might also review the uncensored episode for the uncensored episode for Tiffany Haddish. I'm not sure yet. But other than that, I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. Peace.